I'm Tracy Chevalier. I'm a novelist, and I've been asked by the Bronte parsonage to come and help them as a creative partner for the bicentenary year of 2016 to help celebrate Charlotte Bronte's 200th anniversary. I first came to the parsonage about a year and a half ago to look around and look through the collection, try to figure out how I could put an exhibition together. And I noticed in the collection that there are all kinds of tiny things. The Brontes are particularly well known for those miniature books that they made, tiny books you can't even read the handwriting. And I had wanted to see those, I had a look at those, and then I started noticing Charlotte made tiny watercolors. She had a little tiny needle case with little tiny needles that she sewed things, and everything seemed small in her life. She herself was really tiny. Her clothes, her shoes are just these tiny shoes, very, very narrow hands and fingers. And I thought, yet at the same time I was rereading her letters and her novels, and all the way through them are these quotes about her ambition and her heart swelling and her desire for wings and her need to learn and to know and to have ambition. So I decided I wanted to contrast those two things, and I put together an exhibition called Charlotte Great and Small, after the Yorkshire hymn. In the cases are little things, lots of little things, and on the walls are the quotes of the big words. This was one of my crazier ideas for celebrating Charlotte's bicentenary. I said, I think we need to have a knitted Jane Eyre in the parsonage. And I found a wonderful woman who knits. Her name is Denise Solway, and her handle is the Knitting Witch. And she knitted a scene from Jane Eyre where Rochester's bed is on fire, started by Bertha, his wife, who's kept up in the attic. And Jane rushes in, grabs a pitcher of water and throws it on the fire and puts the fire out. And that's really the moment when Rochester falls in love with her. And it's such a glorious homage to both Jane and to Charlotte. It's beautifully knitted. There are some wonderful details. I particularly like Bertha. I think she was looking suitably mad. And if you notice deep in the bed's beautifully made, and even on Rochester's pillows are his initials. So there's all sorts of wonderful detail. I think visitors will really enjoy it. On this wall we have 4 photographs made by the artist Leisha Boughton, who is from New Mexico. And Leisha contacted me and said she was making artwork responding to love letters that Charlotte had written to her old Belgian professor. And I said, well, that's funny, we're going to have one in the show, and from the British Library on loan. And so she made these pieces in response to it. The first one is a portrait of Monsieur Heger. And his wife was not too fond of Charlotte and told her she could only write to her husband once every 6 months. So Charlotte would write to him and then wait in vain for him to reply. And this is a portrait of him with a letter for each day that she's waiting for a reply from him. And she's waited 76 days and not heard anything.
Day and night I find neither rest nor peace. If I sleep, I have tormenting dreams in which I see you always severe, always angry with me. Forgive me then, monsieur, if I take the step of writing to you again. How can I bear my life unless I make an effort to alleviate its sufferings?
Charlotte wrote these letters to Heger. He read them, then ripped them up, and his wife sewed them back together and kept them. And then eventually the children donated them to the British Library. So here, Leisha has taken a word, non, rien, no, nothing, haven't got a letter from him, from you. And also, ni lettre, neither letter, ni message, neither letter nor message. She's created these cards, beautifully embroidered with lots of thread, which makes a lot of sense. It refers back to the wife sewing the letters, and also to all the sewing the Brontes did. So you can go from the letter in the other room over there and come over and see this here, this kind of modern reinterpretation of the letter.
I would rather undergo the greatest bodily pains than have my heart constantly lacerated by searing regrets.
Another artwork I wanted to show you is in the children's study on the first floor of the parsonage. It's a tiny room where the Bronte children used to play and then as adults sometimes slept. And normally people don't get to walk into this room, but this year they do because of the Bronte bed. This tiny bed was made by a New York artist named Tamar Stone. And she has embroidered words from the Bronte siblings, all four of them, all over the bedclothes. Visitors will be encouraged to undress the bed, unmake the bed, and have a look at all of the words. They are to do with sleep, with dreams, with hopes and fears and domesticity. It's about sewing and ironing, and also how they got along with each other. But there are all sorts of quotes from Emily, quotes from Branwell. This is Branwell saying, "I found myself in bed next morning with a bottle of porter, a glass, and a corkscrew beside me." Lovely. And you can unmake the bed all the way down to the mattress. So there are all these wonderful, wonderful quotes, and it's a way of knitting together and telling a story about the Bronte children through a bed. I think the legacy of the bicentenary, I think it will remind the world of how groundbreaking the writers were, beginning with Charlotte, who had such a success with Jane Eyre in her own time. And that's so surprising because women at that time were really not meant to write and be a big success and write about characters who have so much passion and ambition. And I hope that people will take that away from this exhibition and from this year and really appreciate how groundbreaking Charlotte was.